Good afternoon.
Well, hello there, Voss. My
Hello
insurance
there.
bro. How are you?
Bro. Insurance bros.
Boom.
Boom.
How's it going?
Going good.
We're
busy day, busy week. How are
Yeah.
things with you?
They're good. They're good. We're winding summer down a little bit.
It's starting to cool off a little bit. Maybe?
No, not really.
No, not really.
No.
It didn't hit 120 this year like it did last year. for
Last
like
year was
2 months.
hot.
Gosh,
Yeah.
the worst.
In fact, I think last year it was like 120, but that was the week I was in Wisconsin.
Oh, that's rough.
I know, right?
Right. I feel
And
bad
it was
for you.
like, well, it was like 79 there.
Oh, it's so hot. in
And the
Wisconsin.
wife was texting me, and I was like, I don't know what to tell you.
This is miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
We haven't really hit that this year,
no.
and August has been super stormy and kind of gloomy, I think,
Stormy and gloomy, yes.
but in a positive way.
It's good though. A little rain is nice.
Yeah,
I like the rain. It's nice to cool things off a little bit.
I like it too.
Yeah.
I like it too.
So what's going on with you? The State 48.
I'm rocking the State 48, the lumberjacks. I am a proud lumberjack.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, I went to NAU, if you can believe that.
Awesome.
I know. When I got to NAU, they said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Not math and not accounting."
Not. You know, that's exactly what I said when I went to college. I'm like, do you have any courses that don't involve math? The counselor's like, well, there's one, but it has the statistics course. I'm like, is that math? He's like, nah, not really, but it's got some in it. I'm like, sign me up for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
That
understand.
was a hard course, let me tell you.
I avoided that.
Statistics.
In fact, I think the last class I ever took was like a math class where they're like, "Well, you just have to take math," and I was like, "Oh man,
Yeah.
killing me."
I had a buddy, Philip Bruna, Phil Billy. He would change his major like every year.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna learn something new this year.
Wow.
I'm like, why are you doing that? He's like, I work for the family business. So yeah, so every year it's like 101 courses. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
I
How did
had
I think of that?
I had buddies in high school who they would apply for like state schools or like specific schools, but they would put in there like, oh, they wanted to be like farmers or a
Right.
random
Yeah, I mean, he probably got
major
a degree in something. but I
because
thought it was general studies.
because not everybody was applying to be
Right.
a farmer.
Well,
And
right.
so, they have to accept so many people. So they accept that, and then a semester in, you just change to, business or whatever major you wanted to. But I thought, they're smarter than me.
That's smarter than me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, let's talk about insurance because that's always fun. I can tell you
Yeah.
this,
Woo.
that when I was in college, the last thing on my brain
was to become
was
an
insurance. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not where I
Is
was.
there insurance for college?
I know that. Well, let's say this. Auto insurance in college is very
Oh my
expensive.
gosh, it's horrendous.
I know what my 20-year-old costs for his auto insurance. So
My daughter just got her license. Well, got her car and $200 a month for auto insurance. Like,
yeah,
ugh.
yeah. It's more for a boy.
They're like, at least she's getting good grades, so we get a little bit of a discount. I'm like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
That's a plus.
Yeah, the good student discount that always helps.
Yeah. And
But-
girls get a discount?
Yes. Well, they're not as aggressive as boys.
I guess. Yeah. Well.
I mean, I can remember being 17 or 18 and I got 3 tickets in one day.
One
2 by the
day?
same cop, yeah. And then
love
finally so it was like 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, and then 1 late at night. And I was like off-roading in a field, and the cop late at night
Did they
was
give you a
like,
ticket for that?
oh yeah, dude, it's like private property. Oh man.
Froden?
And
Come on.
the cop was like, that field is probably houses now.
Probably.
But the cop was like, oh yeah, this kid's a dumbass and blah blah. I was, man.
You know what? Whenever I got pulled over, they'd walk up to the car. I'm like, hey, I got to ask you a question. Are my mud flaps too short? And they were like, what? I'm like, yeah, my mud flaps. Last time I got pulled over was because my mud flaps were too short. And is it because my flaps are too short? Because there's not enough hanging down? And they're like, kind of throws them off.
Sure.
And they're like, I'm not really pulling you over for your mud flaps. I'm like, you sure? Because I don't know. I mean, I put some bigger ones on there, but I don't know.
Were they like the kind of mud flaps that had like the girly on it?
Nah. Those are the second ones.
Those are the longer ones.
Longer ones that went down. Eventually, I just put those on.
I always wanted to get truck nuts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nuts for the
hang down for the truck.
Truck nuts.
You know what that is? Or two big, two pistons hanging down from the back.
Oh yeah, okay. That works
playing
too.
Around with each other. Yeah.
So did you ever get out of a ticket asking about mud flaps?
Yeah, I did actually.
Really?
Yeah. Eventually, we just got to talking about mud flaps, and she's like, "I don't got time for this. I gotta go." She's like, "You need to slow down a little bit." I'm like, "All right, I'll slow down."
Well, those mud flaps will slow you down.
They will slow you down a little bit.
Man, that's crazy.
I know, right?
I got pulled over one time, and my wife was pregnant.
Yeah.
And she leaned back. She took this one like a champ. The cop came up to the car, and I was going fast. I was going really fast, and she was pregnant with my youngest son. And she leaned back, stuck her stomach out, and she goes, "I'm sorry, officer. This is my fault. I really have to pee." And the cop he looked and he goes, "No problem, man. Let me just make sure that you're not a serial killer," and ran my name and then cut me loose. And I was like, "Oh my gosh."
That's awesome.
So we got out of it that way. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I think that was probably the coolest way I ever got out of a ticket.
You know what? I was in college once. I didn't get out of this ticket, but I was in college. I think I got the ticket. I can't remember, but I was in college, and I had this big old lifted truck.
Yeah.
Ford F-250, 81, red, maroon with
like 35s on it.
35s, 8-inch lift. And I was running late for school, and I would cut through. I was going to Phoenix College back then, and I jumped into the carpool lane, and I was like just cruising along, and I could see this cop on a bike in traffic just sitting there watching me, and we kind of connected eyes, and I watched, and we looked as I went by, and he's looking at me and I'm looking at him, and so then I started trying to cut over to get off the freeway. He zips up, he pulls me over, he's like, "What do you think, you're gonna hide from me in this big thing? Are you serious? I'm so late for school." He's like, "Dude, seriously."
Wow.
He's like, "You got your windows rolled down, you're in the biggest truck here, come on."
I had a similar situation, except I had my little brother was in the passenger seat, big lifted truck. I had like 33s on it. It was an F-150 single cab. And cop gets right behind. This was in Southern California. Cop gets right behind me, and I knew he was itching to pull me over. And there's a little bit of traffic going on. And my little brother was 10 years younger than me. And I knew that you couldn't see him, so it looked like I was by myself.
Yeah.
And I go, hey, kid, hey, put your hands up like this. So he puts his hands up like that, and the cop, he was a motorcycle cop, went around me and left. And I was like, yes. But I knew he was coming for me because he thought I didn't have anybody in there.
That's a big fine, though, right?
It is. Like $400.
Like $400 in the...
Yeah, I think, and that's a moving violation. That'll affect your insurance.
Ooh, that is bad news. That's worse than a camera one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Full.
Yeah, I've been pulled over a few times in the carpool lane. Never doing that again.
I'm glad that we were able to bring that. And don't put like a dummy in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they might think it's funny for a minute, and then they're going to write you the ticket anyways.
Yeah, yeah.
If you get pulled over.
I think that there's probably nothing that like a cop has not seen.
It's like your parents. Like, what are you doing? like I don't know what this is.
Yeah,
You think I was born yesterday?
Oh, well, I could talk about all my stupid road adventures all day long, but I saw something.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring it up to you because I'm not an expert in it.
Something Medicare.
Changes in Medicare that are coming up.
Yeah, there are
drug stuff.
Drug stuff, yeah.
Tell us about what's happening in that world.
So the Medicare, the drug plans, the portion of it, there's getting a maximum out of pocket for your total drug bill for the year.
For the year.
For the year. So starting 2025, the maximum out of pocket for your drugs is $2,000.
Does that include stuff like insulin? Is that considered a drug?
Yeah. So the
So
drug
even if it's like everything from like blood pressure medication to like whatever prescription you have,
drugs,
you're only going to ever come out $2,000. Now, does that mean I'm an insurance guy?
Oh yeah.
So I'm always concerned about premium versus a deductible, right? And so I'd consider that actually like a deductible, right? This is the amount that I'm going to self-insure. So does that mean that the premiums have gone up?
So some of the premiums of the drugs are going to go up. We'll probably see that because if somebody's paying $6,000, like this year for drugs, you have the deductible of like $550. You reach that, and then and that's the initial. Then you go into you get up to $5,000 in total cost. And then you go into the donut hole. You go in the donut hole, pay 25% of the drugs until you hit $8,000, and then at $8,000, then it drops down to like 5% of the drugs.
Wow.
So the initial, you pay the deductible, and then you pay the cost, like your co-payment, up to $5,000, and then from $5,000 to $8,000, you're paying 25% of the drugs. So you're paying a lot for drugs over the course of the year. Currently, in 25. The donut hole and catastrophic just go away, and the instead of going up to 5,000, it's going up to 2,000. So the true cost, the true out of pocket, is the total cost that you pay and the insurance company pays for a drug.
Okay.
That right now when that reaches $5,000, then you go into the donut hole. But for next year, it's the true cost. What you pay and what the company pays, equaling up to $2,000, or for a drug. Once you hit the $2,000 mark of those two costs together, then the client doesn't have to pay any more for drugs the rest of the year.
Okay. So I have a few questions.
Yeah, I have questions on that one too.
So does that include like specialty drugs, or is it only like generic, like in this box?
All the drugs. So the tiers 1 through 6, depending on the plan, preferred, generics, brand preferred, all the drugs combined. So most plans will probably bring back the deductible of like $500.
Yeah.
A lot of plans would only run a deductible on the higher tier drugs, the more expensive ones. But they might just bring that back for everybody because they're going to have to shell out more money in the long run if they're paying for your drugs.
Got it.
And then
right, because they're never going to take it on the chin. Well, that's why I'm trying to That's why I'm trying to flush this out a little bit.
So they are taking it on the chin.
Really?
Oh yeah.
They're not going to just charge the government more.
No. The government's not paying for more. The government's just saying that
that's just what it is.
It is what it is.
Okay, so then I have further questions.
Further questions.
I asked about like insulin, but what about and specialty drugs beyond like generic or even name brand stuff? But like specialty drugs, but like what about like cancer, like chemo?
Well, that's a Part B. That's not an over-the-counter drug.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
you can't show up and be like, "Hey, Walgreens, can I have my bag of chemo?"
I think they have pills for chemo pills. I'm not really sure on that one, but I know chemo is a different.
It's a different animal altogether.
Charge.
Yeah.
Usually it's a Part B.
That seems like a treatment more than a.
It is. So on the treatment, it's like a Part B, Part A, but and there's like a 20% cost share for chemo in Advantage plans. And then if you have a supplement plan, obviously the supplement plan, and picks up the cost, you just pay the monthly for that.
Wow.
But it doesn't really fall into the Part D that often. Unless the pills fall into that Part D and you pick them up from the drugstore, then yeah, they would fall under that umbrella. So anything in the formulary, so whatever the company is going to cover.
Does Medicare cover anything like naturopathic?
Sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
Like,
depends on what it is.
Whether it's like a more natural, like fiber-based herb that you would get at like Sprouts or something like that. Like, or you go to a naturopath, and like I go to a naturopath and I have to come out of pocket on the visit, on anything that she prescribes to me, all of that. But to me, that is a little, like, every time I've gone to a doctor, like a traditional doctor, I leave with like 8 scripts, and I'm like, I don't know.
How lucky are you? Jeez, I never get one out of mine.
Well, but like not in a good way. It's like, oh, it takes you 20 minutes to fall asleep. Like, pop this before you go to sleep, and it's like, yeah, or like I could just read.
Yeah,
and that'll knock me out, right? So like, I have found that the naturopath is a little bit more of a, at least at this point in my life.
Well, so a naturopath, you got to figure they can get an MD, an NMD license, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they can credential with insurance companies if they wanted to. Any doctor can credential with insurance companies or just do private pay.
Yeah.
There's no rules in this. So if they want to take insurance, I imagine they could probably apply for that and try to get it under their medical standing. But why, if the norm for this is people come in and private pay, why try to take insurance at that point? So on the naturopathic side, I'm not sure on that one 100%, but if their norm, because I used to go to a naturopath and I private paid that.
Yeah.
It was all private pay.
Yeah.
And they'd write me scripts, and they had a little pharmacy inside, and they did their own little thing.
So the one that I work with, my wife has gone there too.
It was phenomenal, but
ours is great. Like, I love her. But there was certain things that would be covered by insurance, like the blood work was.
Right.
X-rays.
Well, that's all medical.
Yeah,
stuff.
like medical
stuff.
But like, I came out of pocket on even the supplements, and you're talking probably $300 a month in supplements.
Right. Well, I mean, they're giving you the placebo supplements that has a fancy name on it. It smells like poop, and you take it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it gives me heartburn
inside. Yeah.
Yeah, it gives me salmon flavored kisses.
You know what? Yeah, I took some of those back in the day, and there was some stuff worked for some things, and some it was a trial and error thing. That's why they call it practicing medicine. But some of those drugs can be counted as over the counter, and they could be in a formulary where a drug company will cover it.
Wow.
But it depends on what it is. Some companies will cover fiber type pills.
Yeah.
Or you can just get Mucinex, not Mucinex, whatever that stuff is, magnesium or whatever you take.
Like
Fiber One.
Fiber One.
Fiber One.
Yeah.
The Fiber One bars, by the way, they do taste good, but don't eat 4 in a row. You will have some problems the next day.
There was a Saturday Night Live skit a long time ago, so long ago, like Phil Hartman was on it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was their skit was like colon blow.
Colon blow.
Yeah, and it was like a mountain of cereal.
My I had a buddy that would throw out this meme every now and then, and it always had me rolling. It's like, don't take sleeping pill. Don't get your sleeping pills and X-Lax mixed up.
Oh,
don't take them both at the same time.
I have a I have a crazy mixing up drug story that was totally accident.
Oh, what'd you do?
This is a really good lesson.
A gruesome.
So I was working a pretty high stress job. This was pre-insurance.
Yeah.
But I was working for an international tax company, and I was traveling. I was traveling to Europe and I was traveling across the country. Well, their corporate headquarters in the U.S. was based in Washington, D.C. And it was around the holidays, and like you're talking like Christmas time. And gosh, I was in my late 30s.
Yeah.
And super stressed out. I woke up after getting back from that trip and was like, what's this? And it was a stripe along my abdomen. And I went to the doctor and he goes, you have shingles. And I was like, how could I have shingles? I'm 38 years old. He goes, yeah, you have shingles. Sometimes you get it when you're young. And let me tell you this, it hurt bad.
You had shingles.
I did have shingles. It
wow.
hurt bad. So I had to take, it's connected to your like nervous system. I had to take an antibiotics. But then I also was taking basically the equivalent of like a Percocet or like some type of painkiller.
Wow.
And they were on my nightstand, and in a drug-induced sleep, I had to take this antibiotics like 5 times a day.
Wow.
But in a drug-induced sleep, I was popping the
Percocet?
yes, every 2 hours instead of the antibiotic. I'm lucky to not like be dead. Yeah. No, and literally like my wife came home and I was like, and she's like, which one have you been taking? I'm like, that one. She's like, oh my gosh. So yeah, I mean that was that don't mix your drugs. Yeah. But yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, that is rough.
I think that's a very valuable topic for Medicare and the changes in drugs. I think that's going to be super useful for someone on a budget, you know, not coming out $8,000 anymore.
Right. So there's another cool thing with that. If you go to the pharmacy and your bill is $600 or more, then they will ask if you want to go on a payment plan.
Oh, nice.
I know, right? So you have this max amount of pocket of $2,000, and then if your drugs hit a certain out-of-pocket amount, they'll put you on a payment plan to say, well, let's just spread it out over the course of 12 months.
Wow.
So they'll equal out whatever your co-payments would be to equal to the $2,000. And then
because they know that within like 3 months you're going to exceed this.
If you're paying $600 this month for this pills, and
that's great.
Yeah, and then like next month you'll pay another $600, but then the total cost, it's you're paying $1,200. The total cost hits $2,000.
Yeah, you're into it for 3.5 months,
2-3 months, and they'll put that together and spread it out over the course of the year. That's awesome. So you just pay a small co-payment every month, or just pay it off. But yeah, but it's super nice because I got a couple clients that pay close to $1,000 a month for a drug, and that's gonna gone.
Oof.
Yeah.
Man. I wonder what politician thought of that. That's probably
I don't know.
Pretty smart.
You know what? I don't know where that one came from, but CMS has been looking to make some changes.
Yep.
Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services on all the plans, because you get discounts. You're under 65, and we get discounts on all our drugs. Like I take Eliquis, and I pay $10 a month. But I have a client on Eliquis and they pay $500 a month. I'm like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
They should get the same $10 a month co-payment.
Absolutely.
So now it's like they're nipping it all.
Yeah.
They're breaking down on the drug companies, on the insurance companies, and be like, listen, there's no reason for this.
Well, I think especially as our senior population increases. I mean,
yeah,
it's huge. It's only getting larger.
And
baby boomers age out.
There's a lot of money that they're putting towards their healthcare and drugs, and there's a lot of money the government's putting towards things. So they got to level things out and see where it's going to go. This year, a lot of changes are happening. So, I mean, if the companies are going to come out of pocket for half of your drug cost, then, benefits are going to change this year across the board for all plans.
Yeah.
Go Probably, some things will go down, some things will go up. This is a big year for, Medicare reviews. Make sure everybody takes a good look.
You don't want to miss that for sure.
No, you especially don't want to miss that. If you can get on a plan.
If someone has an existing plan, they can switch to that coverage.
Well, so
is it everybody going to that?
So everybody across the board is getting that benefit.
Oh, nice.
The Medicare, on the Medicare side. Perfect. So,
but it's worth an examination.
But yeah, so that's what you're gonna have to look at. Like, your current plan is going to get that, but what's going to change in your current plan, because of this. Yeah. So this is a huge change for the insurance companies. Now they're coming out of pocket for money, for drugs. So what's going to change on the plan? So you want to make sure, like, if you had a benefit that you were using, like a transport benefit or a dental, or you're seeing a specific doctor, you want to make sure that those things are still in play.
Yeah.
That, you still need them. You need to see, a podiatrist every week, or you're getting physical therapy. So, yes, this is going to be a great benefit for your drugs. But you just want to make sure that all your other benefits are.
Sure.
And there's about 100 different plans out there. So, I mean, there's stuff to pick from. So it's time to take a close look.
What's that movie with Matthew McConaughey where he's like, all right, all right, all right?
Dazed and Confused.
Is it Dazed and Confused? Yes. So I saw this thing. We'll close it out with this. We're talking about 8 seniors aging out.
Yeah.
So Dazed and Confused was made in 1993.
No.
Yes.
Come on.
And it was highlighting 1976.
It was.
Which in equivalent today would be in 2024 would be going back to 2007. That make you feel old?
It makes me feel old because that movie's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I still watch it all the time.
All right. Voss, thanks very much for coming out.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed this segment. This was very, very powerful. A lot of good information.
A lot of good information. A lot of stories.
Let's
what? We didn't introduce ourselves.
Well, let's introduce ourselves on the way out.
Casey Kendall.
Yes,
folks.
I'm Casey Kendall, Prosperity North Advisors in Gilbert, Arizona, specializing in commercial insurance, the assisted living world, and a whole bunch of other areas.
Nice. Voss Spiros, Arizona Medicare Insurance Solutions, and Red Mountain Funeral Home, helping people with Medicare reviews and funeral insurance. Awesome. Yes.
Well, I appreciate you, Voss. Thanks for coming out. Thank you for joining us. And if you want to be a guest, let us know.
Let us know.
Always looking for it.
All right. All right,
Voss.
Insurance Bros.